What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we're through the third week of the 1999 HEX calendar, and I want to go over some of these buffs, because a lot of these HEX override buffs have been wildly different from what their description says in-game. So we'll be discussing which HEX override buffs I'd recommend, and basically what a lot of these ones do that aren't as immediately obvious as the description might indicate. So let's get right into it. Before we do, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff. The right place, Warframe content. We'll be covering Warframe extensively in 2025 as well. So yeah, make sure you're subbed. And yes, this video basically exists so I can complain about Heavy Javelin and how underwhelming the Heavy Javelin perk was. After I got excited about yesterday. But yeah, there's also some good perks too today, not just the bad ones. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first going over what these buffs even are. We are in the back rooms area of 1999. It's like basically Helvanium. Well, you unlock this after the quest. Spoiler alert. But the buffs we're talking about today are going to be these buffs on the calendar system. So you basically, it's like a second night wave pretty much. So you do these challenges, you'll get some loot. And then you'll also get access to being able to choose from different types of buffs that work in 1999 missions. These only last for about a month. Well, actually, they last until the calendar year's over, which takes about 4 weeks. So if you pick a buff on the 4th week of the calendar buff, it will go away like next week, basically, for what it looks like. So either way, let's go over what some of these buffs do and what ones I'd recommend to you. So looking at these three right here, these are some pretty straightforward ones. Now, you're not really making a wrong decision if you look at these three buffs right here. We've got No Quarter giving melee attack speed. You've got Power Gains giving power strength, and you've got Your Back giving Spectre and companion damage. Now, here's the thing about these buffs. You can't mess it up on choices like these because these are all actually just upsides, no downsides at all. But additionally, buffs like the Power Gain, when we just went over, that can double stack. So I know it says 75% power strength, but it's a UI glitch. It's actually 50% power strength. It's giving me 2 weeks of this buff stacked together because I picked this buff last week. So obviously, power strength is good. This one is never a downside. You should always be picking Power Gains as a fair-to-pick option. The other two options here, companion damage being increased, sure, but a lot more niche than just power strength. And the other one, No Quarter, melee attack speed. It's good if you're using melee, but if you're not using melee, obviously it does nothing. So the most universally good one here is going to be Power Gains, and you can double stack these. Like No Quarter was here a couple weeks ago as well. You could have 50% melee speed if that's more of your playstyle over 50% power strength, or even 500% Spectre damage for that matter. Okay, I've explained what these are. Now let's go over some of these specific buffs and why some of them are good or bad. Let's start with the Heavy Javelin perk. Heavy melee attacks trigger Radial Javelin with a 3-meter range and 1,000 damage, scaling both with combo multiplier. So you get a Radial, like basically the ability of Excalibur whenever you do a heavy attack on 1999. The range of it and the damage of it scales with combo. Now, in actual practice, how good is it? It's really terrible, actually. I hope you'd like to see 1.8k damage slash procs, because that's what this thing does a lot. So, in the background footage, you're seeing me using melee influence Siam with Blast Electric. Whenever you see a 1.4 or 1.8k slash proc, that is the perk doing its job. So, it is not seeming like it's buffed by pretty much anything. Now, you can stack the slash procs on top of each other from doing multiple heavy attacks. But yeah, for what it looks like, guys, this one is not really, so as you can see right there, I just paused the footage, 1.8k damage slash proc and some 5.3k damage slash procs. Those are the kinds of numbers you're expecting from this, and it does not seem to go through walls either from my immediate testing. So it's really underwhelming. And it also doesn't work on heavy slams either. So you need to be finding weapons that you're going to be spamming normal heavy attacks with. So the Siam, the Stropha or whatever. It doesn't work with glaives either. Yeah, I tested it last night. No heavy slams, no glaives. It's very restrictive and also very weak. So unless you'd like to have a bunch of 1.4k damage slash procs that are contributing, I suppose, I wouldn't recommend this one. And I don't think that it double stacking from like multiple weeks of buffs would even make it any better. So yeah, maybe avoid Heavy Javelin. Not that the other perks of that tier option this week are that bad. Either we're currently on the last week of 2024. The other options were like every 10 abilities gives you a free ability cast. And then the other one was like punch through on weapons. punch through on primary weapons. Not exactly impactful, but this is also not impactful either. So I would say avoid heavy Javelin going forward because it doesn't work on heavy slams, and also these 1.4k slash procs are kind of underwhelming. Why am I saying it's 1.4k slash proc? Because most builds in Warframe use Galvanized Reflex, which gives you, well, not most builds. A lot of builds in Warframe gives you 80 initial combo with Galvanized Reflex, and that's going to be what you're basically walking around with most of the time. So you stack it up with the Rauta, you'll get a little bit stronger slash procs, but you're going back down from your 12x to your whatever, 5x or whatever. So it's not going to last for super long. You're looking at probably about 11k slash proc when you stack everything up from one heavy. So not the best. All right, moving on to some other buffs here. So whatever why heavy Javelin is not exactly powerful. Let's move on to some other buffs here. We got Magnetic Menace. Now this one is extremely incorrect in the description. In actual gameplay, it's much better. But the way it reads, every 5th ability cast applies a magnetic status effect to an enemy in front of you within 50 meters. It could not be any more wrong in what it describes. Every 5th ability, you actually create a mini mag bubble from the mag Warframe that will pull enemies in to the middle. So every 5 abilities also does not seem entirely accurate, as I cast lots of abilities as Korra, and I hardly ever get the bubble. So yeah, it is not, as it states, it says a magnetic status effect. It is not a magnetic status effect. It is a magnetic mag bubble, which is not even a status effect for that matter, so it could not be any more different than the description. And this one is actually a lot better in gameplay than it says in the description, basically. So I'd recommend picking Magnetic Menace if you are an ability spam heavy frame, because the other options usually aren't anywhere near as good. Because on that tier, I think we had 2 energy regen per second. 2 energy regen per second is hardly anything, guys. An energy orb gives you 25, so it's 12 seconds for 1 energy orb. It's not super worth. It's nice to have it, I suppose, but unless you're using Nourish, you're not going to see much of the results from that. So yeah, Magnetic Menace, pretty decent. Definitely not a game changer. Putting a magnetic bubble on enemies is not going to do a whole lot if you're just spamming abilities in the first place. And that being said, also there needs to be alive enemies in front of you. So if you're killing everything in one hit with Korra or whatever, don't expect that many mag bubbles. And if you do get mag bubbles, they're going to probably be on the Babaus, because Babao is the only thing that survives through 2 whip claws. So yeah, but the description on that one could not be any more wrong. Let's move on to some of these other buffs here. Some of them that won't be as confusing, but are at least ones that you should think about in the future. So if you're looking to play some Steel Path face-off missions, or maybe just play Steel Path missions in general with a maybe not as survivable frame, or maybe like a shield gating frame or whatever, you can get easy shield gate with one of these new buffs that came out this week called Harden Up. Harden Up is a new one as of this week. Increase overshield cap by 50%, and kills will grant 50 shields. Now, we did test it on Anaro, so it does not give Anaro shields, but if you don't, shield getting is in Warframe, you might see how good this could possibly be. Every kill gives 50 shields. That means that we are invincible for a portion of time on every kill. So, and also multiple enemies will give you multiple chunks of shield. So it's extremely powerful. I don't have it active in the footage right now, but yes, this will make it where you don't have to even mod for Brief Respite or Augur Message anymore. All you have to do is just get kills on enemies, and you will get shield gate back. Now, there will be times where you're not going to want to have no Augur or Brief Respite, but yeah, there are going to be plenty of times that you don't need it anymore on these missions with these buffs. If they worked in other missions that weren't 1999, it would be a big game changer, but it's just a game changer on 1999 as of right now. Moving past these last couple of buffs I've got here, we've got Espresso Shots. This is what I was telling you about, 2 energy regen per second. Not very impactful in the grand scheme of things. Now, you could double stack this to get 4 energies per second. That's a little bit more noticeable, but still, it's just passive energy regen. We can get 100 energy per tick from an energy pad. Nourish and Energy Nexus blows it out of the water. It's just not super OP unless you're using Nourish, where it becomes an extra Energy Nexus mod, basically. We already went over power gains, giving you extra power strength. But this one's also very good. Bottled Lightning. Add 25% status damage and electric status effect to all weapons. This works on melees, this works on guns, works on all that stuff. It will give you a separate hit of electricity, think like Shock Trooper, but it will also be able to proc electric from that as well. So very good stuff there. I think most players took this one last week when it was available, and this one can also be double stacked to increase the status damage from these attacks. But we have not gotten that available yet. And for the last one, Broaden Horizons. Now, this one actually was available 3 times. So if you pick this all 3 times, you'd be getting this effect tripled. Energy Orb Pickup, increase the ability range by 10% for 10 seconds. So yeah, we've had this available for 3 different weeks. I only picked it for 1 week, But yes, guys, you would have 30% increased power, or 30% increased range after grabbing an orb. And that will be pretty much constantly up because you get lots of orbs in this game with lots of kills and lots of Xmas spawns. So that's a lot of the buffs I've been using for the Hex Overdrive, and some of them ones you should look out for. Like, I would say, even though Heavy Javelin is like probably still the best option on that tier, it's just so underwhelming. I wanted to warn people about it because I was extremely disappointed in the power it provides. If they maybe made it scale with more, again, I don't think it's scaling with Roar right now. It's only scaling with combo like it says, but I would think that Roar would work too, but it doesn't from what I can tell right now. So maybe make it scale with Roar, maybe make it scale with mods even, because if I'm doing a normal heavy attack, a non-heavy slam, it's probably going to already do a slash proc in the first place. So what's the point of having, like, you know, and what's the point of having a 1.8k damage slash proc if I'm already doing, like, you know, multi-million slash procs as well? So that's kind of how I look at it. By the way, guys, hope you had a great, you're having a good time farming this update. I've been enjoying it a lot. I will see you again very soon on stream, another video tomorrow. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Let me know what bonuses you have that you liked, maybe more than the ones I have. All right, guys, take it easy. Peace.